Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. I'm back from a week on vacation, and while on vacation, I actually made some trades, and it almost paid for my entire vacation, honestly. And today we're going to look at some of the recent trades I made, what I'm thinking I'm doing going forward into next week. Really looking forward to next week. And if you like this kind of content, I've been documenting me trying to make some extra money selling options and seeing if I can make that work. This is just a small subset of my portfolio. Most of it's in index funds, just being safe, but I thought I would play a little bit risky with some of this and try to make some extra income doing so. If you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing. That way you don't miss any videos in the future. If you're interested in learning the basics of selling options, I teach everything I know on this course and try to make it affordable. It's linked down below if you want to go check it out. Thanks for even considering it. And so if we hop over to my spreadsheet that I use to track all of the options that I sell, I left for vacation on the 17th. And if we look at how much I've made in premium since the 17th, so basically all last week, $847. And a lot of this was from selling calls on the SPY and then a few puts here and there, and maybe some calls on some other stocks. And really, that's what I've kind of transitioned to. It used to be I sold a lot of puts, and now I've been assigned a lot of shares, and I own a lot of shares, and I don't have the money that I used to freed up to sell a lot of puts. I still do some, but it's really transitioned to me selling calls instead. So maybe this is the summer of selling calls. We'll see. Every now and then, I like to split up this view and just see how much I've made in premium just by individual ticker symbols. So for the SPY, $878. I'm guessing Sofi is probably the next biggest, and I would assume so at 580. Speaking of SoFi, I still have some open puts that I've sold on SoFi. I've been assigned a couple by the purchaser of those puts. And just a refresher, when you sell a put, you're telling the person that bought the put that you're willing to purchase the shares if they go below a certain price. You're kind of selling them, and I'm stealing this from someone because I think it's a great analogy, an insurance policy, and saying, hey, if the stocks tank by this date and go below this price, I'll purchase them from you, so no worries. And because you're taking on that risk, you get some money in terms of premium. We call that premium. And that money hits your account instantly, and you can do with it whatever you want. You can purchase shares of SoFi. You can transfer it to your bank account. You can just let it sit in your account. It doesn't really matter. And I've been selling a lot of puts lately, and now I'm up to 4,477 shares. And so lately, I've been selling more and more call options on SoFi because I have all these shares. I might as well try to make some extra money while I hold on to those shares. I'm not trying to sell the shares by selling calls and having those get assigned. Really, I'm just doing it for income. And I think my last video, I went ahead and we did a little experiment. We said, is it possible to make $100 a week selling covered calls on SoFi? And how many shares would you need to do so? And we did a few different scenarios, and I've been trying to follow through with that. So if I wanted to sell a call going into tomorrow, and I'm just doing this for premium, this $13 strike, which I've already sold one, and it might be in the money come Friday, so I'll either have to roll it or let it get assigned, and I'll lose 100 shares. And when I say lose, I mean just sell 100 shares at 13 bucks. But since I'm doing this just for income, I really don't want it to be in the money come Friday. So I'm looking for a higher chance of profit. And this is similar to what people talk about when they say the delta. The delta here is telling us that there's about a 75% chance that this is going to expire worthless because there's a 25% chance, as you see here, that it is going to expire in the money. But the chance of profit is a little more refined formula, and the delta is more of an approximation. So what this is saying is at $13.50, there's an 80% chance this expires worthless. Those odds are pretty good. And if I sell this call, I'll make $12 per call that I sell. And like I said before, that money just hits my bank account. So this one right here, I'm more interested in. Maybe we'll go out even a week farther and look at something like this $14 call. And I'll make $17 in premium. There's about an 83% chance that it expires worthless. I've been selling calls heavily on Robinhood as well. We can see I sold one at $46.50, two at $47. These have all gone up in value because since I sold them, Robinhood has gone up. Oh, and one at 45 right below that one. And this is also just for income. I'm not planning on selling my Robinhood shares. Once again, if these ever go in the money closer to expiration, I'll look at rolling these out and possibly up in strike price. That way I have more time to give it to see if I'll actually have to sell these shares. And someone asked me in the comments, when I sell a put, do I use margin sometimes as collateral? And the answer is yes. I'd say majority of the time it uses margin, though there are times where I do just have cash sitting in my brokerage, so it will use that instead. But the cool thing about margin when you sell puts is it doesn't accrue interest until it gets assigned. So there is a lot of risk with you using margin because it can be assigned and then you're paying interest on it. But in the meantime, at least while the option is active and it's not exercised and you don't acquire those shares, you're not actually accruing any interest because you're not technically, I guess, using the money yet. So some of these SoFi calls that you see, I don't actually have the money, at least in Robinhood, to put up as collateral because they're all in these other shares down below. So that's why when I'm selling puts, I really try to avoid those getting assigned. I like to roll them out and not have them get exercised so I don't have to accrue that interest. Yes, that's definitely risky. Not something I'm ever going to recommend, but it's just something I'm doing and I'm trying to be fully transparent. And I've mentioned that before, but I thought I'd mention it again because some new people always come on these videos. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm just going to look at probably just selling calls on SoFi tomorrow and see if I can make, maybe $80 or so. We'll see. I'll keep you guys posted and I hope to see you in a future video.